all we want to do is create control in our lives. And now we're functioning in these societies and in these workplaces where we're told that we have to perform at our best. We have to be peak performers all the time. We have to be productive as hell. We have to be amazing. But we also have to be experts in everything that is, but we have to be open to all that might be. We have to be constantly negotiating all of these things in our own minds and also in public spaces. Like, I think this is partially an acknowledgement just to say that, like, this is very difficult and I'm not sure that organizations do it well.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Erin, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom, because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world, but fed up with the BS.
I know. It's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy. It's comedy. It's definitely full-on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
By the way, you look like absolutely gorgeous tonight.
Actually, I am totally imperfect tonight. I have not showered in about 24 hours. I don't think I've left my house. I don't have an excuse for that other than, like, just welcome to my average Thursday. I was going to get fancy for you and then I just gave up. Absolutely.
Do you see I'm in my daughter's room with glasses and
I miss you
fun and with a desperate need to, like, puke out a few things that I haven't been able to, like, get out on a normal conversation or social media.
Yes.
The first of which is, for some reason, I've been, like, dreaming again of the day we go on the road.
Me too. Strange. I wonder.
I was talking about it today, and I was telling our good friend Christina Glickman, I'm like, she's got some stuff cooking up, and they're going to pilot it in New York City. And I'm like, did you know Nicole and I piloted a women's unconference in New York City with a bunch of private equity and venture capital women several years ago, and
pre-pandemic, and they didn't laugh us out of the room.
Right. I said, one might think, oh, did that mean it didn't go well because it was like 3 years ago and you haven't done it again? And it's like, no, it was October of 2019.
Who knew that the world was going to rotate on its axis in the opposite way? You know, I actually was, like, thinking about this, Erin, because the other day, as I mentioned, I thought it might be for our 200th episode, which is upcoming, but I bought a brand new velour tracksuit with bedazzling. And I thought to myself, you know, everything 90s is in again. And I wore my old velour tracksuit, which is the inspiration for the image of me on Because Podcast, right? Mm-hmm. That is the iconic image of me now in my old velour tracksuit that I thought I was J-Lo for like 20 years, you know, like all in. I wore that thing to shreds and I could not find another one to save my life. Not even on like Chinese fast fashion website. Just, I guess.
Have you been on the Google?
I did the Google. I did the secondhand shopping. I did everything. A good bedazzled velour tracksuit it really wasn't in the cards for me. And I just happened on one and I bought it and I'm in love with it.
You found it in person?
I did. And it's green and it's amazing and it's super soft velour and it has lots of weird fake crystals on it. And it makes me feel very 90s. And like 90s in a good way, not like 90s my 8th grade photo way, like not that way, not like the big glasses. Yeah, not like the glasses on the sweatshirt. Like it makes me actually feel like I'm 2023 J-Lo, but with a 90s vibe. And so maybe that velour tracksuit
maybe that's going back to New York, part of the equation. Because I was thinking about, I was like, I can already picture the t-shirts and I don't have it fully curated, but it's something like, I feel like the t-shirt under the velour tracksuit that you're wearing says something like, I'm the big-haired, smart, funny, fucked up one.
Like, they had so many adjectives to that. As I eat cake, because I'm so into this, I'm eating cake on the podcast being like, yes, Erin, I hear you on this.
And mine is a little less well thought out. Mine is something like...
Oh, there's something less well thought out than that?
I'm the insightful, know-it-all booby one. Maybe there's a drunk in there too. So yeah, that's one of my like haven't been able to get out through a normal conversation or social media that's pent up. So thank you.
I want to yeah, no, that's great. And I would like to play with those adjectives. It reminds me when we were working with Marissa on our branding, we had to come up with all kinds of terms.
Oh yeah, what were
yeah, it's kind of
those were a little more like typical where I was like authentic, funny, like that's us in a nutshell. Yeah, and we've got to figure out this. I cracked up, so I put out in our Because podcast Facebook group, like, here are some options. We need ideas. We need thoughts on the 200th episode.
I saw that.
And yeah, and Nicole's like, can I weigh in here? I was like, dude, you fucking said you were going to think about it like 4 weeks ago. You're willing, you're totally enabled to weigh in at any time. I'm like, that isn't Nicole. Wait, can I weigh in on this? Yes, dumbass. Like, of course you can.
Well, the poll went up without without my input. So I just thought, like, do I know, or do I like add my own categories? Or, I mean, I was like, I want to be supportive of all these great ideas, but I also might want to suggest something off the wall.
Also, part of me knowing how you work, I know I have to fuel you through like FOMO or something.
We have a little bit of time before the 200th episode. So, maybe I'm just prioritizing ever so slightly, and I'm letting the ideas come to me naturally while I eat cake. So we're going to talk tonight about really some interesting things about navigating change, right? So but in our own way, our own awesome way. And, maybe part of that. And you made a terrific analogy when we like texted 1 second about this, which I know we're going to talk about. But maybe part of it is that it is, again, Easter season, which is my favorite season. It is, the season of renewal and sacrifice. And I am a little bit of a holiday whore. Like, it is indeed past Ash Wednesday. We are now in Lent, and I still have my Christmas decor up. Like, I think, and that is on purpose. Like, there is still garland on my front steps and Christmas lights and the decorated fireplaces. I mean, I did pay some money for that decor. So the holiday whore in me is loving it, but it's also like a time to, reset, and it's also around my birthday, hint, hint. So, I like to set my goals there. So I wanted to tell you that I was right before the Lent season, there was Super Bowl, right? And I wanted to like revisit regularly some of the New Year's dares that we did. So, and I've been thinking about them, okay, Erin. I have not just let them go by the wayside. Yeah, like I've been not needing prodding. I've been thinking about it. So I was like, what's one success and one failure that I could, report to date so far? So Super Bowl Sunday, hilarious. Okay, so my mom's here. This is the one day of year that you want to have cable. And guess who got rid of cable this year because it was expensive? Me. So I was like, okay, we're going to figure out a way to watch Super Bowl. Like, Erin told me I need to watch sports. I'm going to go watch the sports ball. Like, this is America's, I'm a holiday whore. It's a holiday whore. I got my Easter decorations up. I got my Christmas decorations up. I can make some of the holiday. It's a holiday. It's like the other Thanksgiving. These are things in America that were great for floor, Rihanna, football, whatever, men in tight pants. I'm here for it, right? So I was like, I'm going to watch the sports ball. Me and my mom. So we call up my brother. We're like, this can be a family event. We're going to like see the baby before she go home, and we'll bring all the food. You guys just have to show up and be cute and have the baby and a TV. Anyway, baby gets sick. No sports ball at Nick's house. So my mom, who's like kind of relieved, I think, I was like, well, Mom, we have other invitations. You invited us. We could go to a bar. I'm like, no, I have a better idea. We're going to stay home. We're going to make food. We're going to make sports ball food. I'm like, okay, wings, that's great. Awesome. And we're going to watch, she loves movies. We're going to watch classic American movies. And I'm like, okay, I bet we can find something that's sporty, like sports themed. We could watch like Raging Bull, right? And it had boxing in it. We could watch, whatever. There's a million. We could watch Moneyball. I'm like, okay, we'll watch a classic American movie about sporting, and we will be in the theme of this.
Yeah.
And my mother's like, all right, you go start the wing. I'm going to find us a movie. I'm like, okay, let's see. We throw out all these ideas. My mother, she lands on Schindler's List. Instead of the sports ball, Erin, I watched a Holocaust movie, a really genius movie about a very serious topic, but it was not the classic American theme that I had been hoping for. And that is my New Year's dare fail.
Did you
so
at
far.
least like do like betting squares on how many soldiers?
There's nothing jolly about Schindler's List. I'm
No,
sorry.
there's not.
And that was not the first Holocaust movie that we had watched this week. There had been several Holocaust movies, so not entirely sure what's going on with Mom. We're both interested in the topic for many reasons, including growing up in a Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. But, maybe my mom was having some nostalgia. I'm not sure. But yes, no sports ball, but there was Schindler's List. So I report that as a fail. But I'm going to report that I had one very successful Lenten sacrifice, Erin. So my mom also here, she loves to look at my products, right? It's like, in some ways, it's like, I feel like she's invading my privacy, but I also really love it. So, she's beautiful and like slightly vain. I love that. So she gets a handle on my hairspray. Now, this hairspray is dope. It is this hairspray that I don't know what it does, but it doesn't make her hair feel awful. But I feel like it adds, I don't know, like a layer of hair, something. I don't know what it does, but it's amazing. And it's the best hairspray I've ever had. And I love it. So my mom uses the rest of it. And I'm like, I'm going to get you your own bottle. So I order a bottle and give it to her. I'm so excited. I was like, oh man, I need a bottle for the house. I go to order it. Do you not know that this hairspray has been discontinued? Like,
I didn't eat that.
My mother took the last bottle on earth.
No. Stop.
The last bottle.
I don't believe
The last bottle. I literally got the last bottle on Amazon or whatever. It is not in any store. It's not even listed as discontinued on their website because it is so legitimately underground.
Nicole, if that isn't the most epic and appropriate metaphor for your life, as middle child number 2, growing up with your mother and all the shit you endured, I think that's the drop the mic. Nicole is always the fucked child moment that you literally got.
And I did it to myself, Erin.
And that is metaphorically appropriate too.
My do-goodery, boom, right there. And in the end,
cards are not stacked right, but you always are the ones that flick it over.
Oh man, girl. So so I'm out the awesome hairspray. My mom has the final bottle, and we may have to end up, solving this the only way that Lakatas do, which is probably with a good old-fashioned fist fight or a dance-off or something like that. It's gonna come to blows.
Speaking of products, and sitting over in my daughter's bed that I forgot I threw in here last minute, we have a new unsponsor. We have not done an unsponsor in a long time.
Who's unsponsoring us?
Well, it's coming across the video for our listeners if this doesn't make the...
Oh my God, yeah.
Did you get it? So I
got a generic version. Shit's amazing.
So I put up my hair in the bun. So about 3 months ago,
yeah,
like my hair is really thinning, and in some like Freudian, but maybe not way, I was like, holy shit, mine is too. And like literally my hair was like so thin, and I'm like, I have the same issue. So I'm a problem solver. I Googled crap out of like best supplements. And here I sit with, I'm telling you people, if you're having thin hair, I swear, in 2 weeks, it totally turned out. It's Nature's Bounty, hair, skin, and nails gummy. I did the gummies, which mainly is
and it's advanced too. It's advanced because it has advanced more. Because the regular only has like half of what the advanced has.
2 times biotin.
Yeah. Biotin.
Manny sort of gave me the snarky, like, you take too many gummies. Do you know how much sugar's in there? And I'm like, well, I've stopped my other gummies because these are the trump card. Screw the staying healthy.
I eat all the gummies. I call it my daily candy. Like, take that shit away from me. It's my healthy candy. Yeah. I mean, they're so I have that brand. I have a generic version of it, but you respond really well to that. Oh my God, she just took him on TV. Go girl. Demonstrate us how to live.
I swear to God.
You are the same way. Like your eyelashes respond well to the growth serum. Like your hair responds well to this. There's something in you, girl. And this, after that,
when I used to smoke pot, I was the first one high. I'm telling you, I can't drink caffeine.
Your body is a finely tuned machine.
It's
and this after that amazing conversation about menopause in the last episode, which was mind blowing. And I'm so glad you did that. And it felt like a gift, by the way.
Yeah. Isn't she amazing too?
She's amazing.
Like she's
If you
not
haven't listened,
passionate and smart, but she's funny as hell. And
she's right up our alley.
she's
like,
totally
"Honey,
our
no."
person.
She makes up words. She
She giggles. She talks about like penises in a funny way. Like,
yeah, she swears. She actually has knowledge.
Yeah.
And personal experience. So if you haven't listened to episode 188, I think this is one of those things that will do it for you. And look, just because it's about menopause, it is not just for women or.
how much do the men like get an inside scoop by listening to that?
I think that that's
that one conversation about
Yep.
what can help us turn things on. Like, hello, inside information.
we have a lot of men who listen to our podcast, people who identify as men. And I think that part of the reason is because they're smart and they like sort of having the inside scoop on, because they care what Gen X women are thinking about and doing. They work with us, they live with us, they're married to us, they're our bosses, they're our staff, they're our colleagues. There's a reason. And yeah, and her conversation about how, stress is impacting menopause, it was sort of this reverse sort of flip on your head kind of moment. So I really appreciated that conversation as well.
Yeah.
I also want to say, can we celebrate the other win, Erin, which is, we both dared each other to travel this year, and we're going to travel.
We're going
Going to Greece together.
We're going. Nicole is coming on a family trip with us to Greece. And here's the most exciting part.
Oh, yes, I am.
I'm going to talk to my tax professional to see if it's a write-off if she comes and we do an episode.
I love the way you think. I did not even add a capitalist aspect to this. I'm here for that.
And when it's tax season, and I thought,
this is such a great idea.
Cool. And I recorded. It's totally Dick Davis in me too, because he was like the tax write-off whore when he was doing real estate for 20 years. He was like, had a conversation about real estate. That dinner's written off.
This is why I'm not rich, because I give my mother my hairspray and don't find a way to monetize it. This is ridiculous.
So speaking of dares, one of your dares was to volunteer, but not be like the grand poobah, the organizer, just be the doer.
Yes, that was.
So tomorrow, that's what I'm doing.
Really, what are you doing?
I'm volunteering. It's the second time I've done it actually with Untapped Potential, which is a local company focused on women that have taken a break in the workplace and are re-entering.
They just joined our Facebook group.
Yep. And so they do they do a lot of different things for these women sort of re-entering, but they do these mock interviews. And I've done it before where we sort of just in a very light setting, kind of have a conversation, but then give them advice. I might have some advice around interviewing. Who knows? Right?
No, definitely don't.
Like I was looking at everybody's resume before this, and I was like, nope.
Shut. I've never even turned you my resume because you'd be like, nope. I wonder, like seriously, you'd be like, nope. I wonder. I feel like I should just come and sit there and be like, I'm an example of someone she's been helping.
Good. It's in Farmington. It's not that far from if you're in the office tomorrow.
Great.
You're like, I'm kidding. I'm not really.
I'm like, really, I'm scarred by you. Just kidding.
I don't need to hear it again.
I'm an excellent interviewer. In fact, actually, I'm interviewing tomorrow for a position. These poor youngins. I'm a terrible interviewer. I started laughing in the middle of an interview, like hysterically. I have lost my sense of humor this week, Erin, and like I started hysterically laughing in the middle of the Zoom interview.
It all the pent up, like, was it like stupid cry shit?
One of my colleagues sent me a meme while I was interviewing, and I should not.
Of course, I looked at it.
And it just sent me over. It was just sent me over the edge. Like I had to actually interrupt my boss so I could speak, so that I would stop laughing. It's like, I'm going to get fired for this because this is probably grievable. That happened. Like, yeah, definitely.
Hey, Erin here. So I know we talk often about this concept of authenticity as a secret weapon to success. I swear to you, my authenticity was literally the number one thing that helped me become both the CEO of a 9-figure company at the age of 42, but also that helped me lead an insanely successful financial and cultural turnaround of that same company. But I get that authenticity as a secret weapon kind of sounds fluffy, like fluffy unicorn doo-doo. that leaves you wondering, what do I actually wake up tomorrow and do differently without looking stupid or getting fired? This is exactly why I put together the Authenticity Playbook for you. It gives you 10 plays or really thought starters that are simple, actionable things that will help you up your career and leadership game. To get your free Authenticity Playbook, go to beauthenticinc.com/playbook. Again, that's beauthenticinc.com, just the letter B, authenticinc.com/playbook. Or to make it simple, just scroll down to the show notes and we've got you covered with a link there too.
I have to tell you my story that I haven't told you, my power story, because I love this so much because you are in the utilities industry.
Yes. And wait, but should we say that the theme of power
And the power.
is one of our themes tonight. So
And somebody moved my power.
who moved my power.
So there's a couple like lay the groundwork things for this story. The first is 2 weeks ago, we had the power go out in the middle of the night. And it was like a random night, no storm, like 2 a.m. And it's frustrating because mostly we are a noise. Like we cannot sleep without noise. We have a fan.
Right.
We have to have white noise. When I travel, I have to. And so as soon as it's dead quiet, like you can forget about, Manny's a terrible sleeper. And then I just can't sleep without noise. And so
you have a weird sleep schedule anyway.
So this happened like a couple weeks ago for like 3 hours. Did come back on. But so the other thing I want to preface the story is that, as you know, and our listeners may or may not know, we're doing a kitchen sort of / living room remodel. And they did the floors this weekend, meaning they sanded them down, re-stained them, and polyurethane them. So they look gorgeous. They're not done yet. They have to do a couple more coats. But if you've never had it done, the smell.
Oh, yeah. I grew up with that.
That comes, right? Because your dad was in the construction, right? So,
Oh, yeah. And he remodeled every house I lived in for like 25 years. Yes. Yes. The smell is,
thick smell.
yes. You will lose brain cells. We used to laugh about this in my family.
Thank you. You heard it here.
Oh, yeah.
So we
Totally true.
You move out for the long weekend. We got super lucky. They did it over the holiday weekend. We went up to Vermont. So we're back in the house Tuesday for the first night. And actually, Manny's like, it smells bad. Like you prepare yourself for it. Until we get in bed, and we're in bed, and I look at him, I go, eyes are like watering. He's like, yeah. Like as you sit down, it rises and you're like, okay.
The fumes are unbelievable.
Are horrible. So we fall asleep. And one of the things, maybe a bad habit, whatever, it's what we do. The TV is almost always on when we fall asleep. Manny needs this fall asleep.
TV on, eyes burning.
Eyes burning. Yes.
Eyes burning. Okay. Set the stage.
And so, but he puts it on a timer. It's always on some like basketball game or sporting event or whatever. And I fall asleep in a
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. So I fall asleep in a hot second. So I fall asleep and then I wake up to him going, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I wake up and I notice it's pitch black, but the TV's off. And he's like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I was like, "Oh my God, we freaking lost power again. Can't believe we lost power." So what you need to know about me is I am a self-declared first responder of power outages. I am a firm believer that you never assume your neighbors are going to report it. Like you always assume they're not. And the faster you report it, the faster it gets fixed.
Hello, Eversource.
So I jump out of bed. My phone's not right next to my bed. I have to go over to the desk. I grab my phone, get on Eversource. I'm a pro at this. But also drives me freaking nuts when it's like middle of the night and you have to report an outage, but you have to like figure out how many all the squares with traffic lights, cycles. Like what the fuck? Like I can't even do that at 2:00 in the afternoon with my bat, and I've got no glasses on. So I'm like, what the hell is this? So I go through the process. I find all the traffic lights. I report the outage. Jump back into bed. Lay down. I'm laying there for like a minute or two, kind of falling asleep, but not quite. And then I hear the fan. And I was like, oh, power's back on. Fan's going.
Right.
Say to Manny, I said, we have power back. And he's like, what are you talking about? I didn't lose power. And I was like, what do you mean we didn't lose power? I just went and reported to Eversource. He goes, no, we didn't lose power. Like the TV went off. I go, you said, are you freaking kidding me? He goes, yeah, you were freaking snoring. like a trucker. And he was like pissed off that I was snoring. He like whacked me and said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I thought he was mad that the power went off. I was like,
You immediately assumed it was Eversource and not your snoring.
yeah. So I go, oh shit, I poured into Eversource. And so I go back to get my phone to like
so productive.
find the undo button or the like, just kidding, or we're okay now. We're all
It's a midnight joke on you.
haha, undo. But there isn't. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay, well, but then I was like, you know what? It's totally fine. Like, I'm sure they're all sitting at this big fancy command center that looks like NASA. And they're like looking at the board and like, 52 Lambsburg said they're out of power, but they're fine. Like,
But that circuit's fine. We can see it from here. It's,
hey,
this
so,
person's just a wackadoo.
so
fair.
sure enough, totally fine. We go back to sleep. We wake up at like midnight to lights. And at first we thought our neighbor we know works in midnight shift and he's got like a driveway that comes right at ours. And so sometimes the light will come in. We're like, and we both like admitted that's what we thought. But then all of a sudden we see full on like lights, no sirens, but picture like lights inside, like the fire trucks are coming down our 400, 500 foot driveway at midnight. And I'm like, oh shit, it's the power company. Like they're coming to fix it. And Manny's like so pissed. You know him, cranky, like, you're a moron. I can't believe. I'm like, what am I going to do? I thought the power is out. He's like, so then of course he's like,
This is amazing. This is some
like,
serious customer service.
Well, here's what we thought. We thought that's awesome they came, but we also thought when you're the only person in the entire state probably that's out of power because there's nothing going on, like you get great customer service.
That is, I'm floored by this. First of all, like, how?
It was not over yet. So
I'm floored by this.
So now we're like, well, we got to go tell him. He's like, you need to go tell him. I go, why don't bra? Like, you know, dudes, all they have to do is throw on a pair of like sweatpants. Or something.
Like you would do this.
Women have to like sweatpants. We got to bra up. I'm like, can you please go down there and tell him? Like, and this is kind of my excuse. Anytime it's late and there's like somebody at our front door or something, I'm like, oh, I'm bra. And like that's
Sure,
like
that happens
2
all
minutes.
the time in rural Connecticut.
So he goes down, opens the garage. He says he opens it. The guy's smoking a cigar. Hey, you guys okay in there? And Manny's like, yes, sorry, my wife's a moron. She thought we lost power. Comes back up. He's like, that was an embarrassing thing in my life.
This guy was on a smoke break in your sweet driveway. It's too bad you couldn't invite him in. You don't have a kitchen.
Well, and then Ella wakes up because not from the lights, but she hears him beep, beep, beep down the
backing down the driveway. He's probably got a bucket truck. He's like driving.
It was huge. It lit up this place. Like, honestly, if you were deaf and didn't hear the siren, you would have thought there were 3 fire trucks. Like it was,
People thought there'd been a home invasion. They didn't know what was going on at your house. I'm surprised Marianne family didn't show up for the
oh yeah, no, we haven't even, I don't even think we've told them the story yet. But so when you told me you wanted to talk about change, and I was like, yeah, like it sucks when things change, especially when they change your power, they lose your power, or, you know, perception is reality when you think they've moved your power.
Yes, exactly. Like, it's so funny that reference is so Gen X. So, you know, I was musing to you this week because I've had some life changes this week. And I was musing to you a little bit about sort of like the nature of change, right? Like not just one-off change, but when you're sort of in the swell of change and like the whole nature of change and how do you, you know, sort of think through this, right? And I think it's deeply personal for a lot of people. So you have you know, I'm talking a little bit about that and you immediately come back with, you know, who moved my power? And I immediately thought of, obviously, who moved my cheese? And if people don't know that reference, that is the ultimate
iconic
Gen X. Yeah, it's the ultimate Gen X sort of self-helpery leadership book. Like, I don't know about you, but was that the first leadership book or professional book that you were ever given? Right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It was like when I was like in underwriting or something. I was like a peon or something.
Everybody, and I worked for a consulting company. So every corporate America.
God, I wish I would have come up with that book, Nate.
Oh,
I mean, it's really in the title. I mean, it's a good book too, but like, wish I would have come up with that metaphorical title.
I just think it's hilarious because I love that we're both harkening back to this like very first experience we had where we're these like young professionals and we're being handed these books like they're the new Bible, like this leadership guide is the new Bible. It's to change your life and you're going to fall in line and everything's going to be perfect. And, and now here we are.
No more problems after this.
We're like, yeah, exactly. We're like, actually, we're still wondering who moved my cheese and everything is
they moved my cheese. And did they pay for my cheese before they moved it?
I think the cheese has gotten better quality, probably more expensive. It tastes better. Like I can pair it with wine.
When it gets moved. Like when you move my, my cheddar versus you move my my favorite
Manchego.
Manchego. Thank you for reminding me because the fumes are still here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's it. It's just, and that book is funny because, and I'm trying to remember it exactly, but I remember it. You're probably not surprised at this. I was not overly impressed. Okay. So it wasn't.
I'm not impressed with any of them except for mine.
No. And because it was very much of the generation, which was like, okay, so something happens to you.
What's that?
It
was very prescriptive.
Prescriptive. That's a great word. Like something happens to you or it happened to these mice or whatever in these scenarios. And there was the parable and it was basically about, understanding of why, what changed to take their cheese away or whatever and how they were supposed to like reclaim their cheese. Right. But it was like very prescriptive. It was very much about like, the one-off incident, the one thing in their life. And it really wasn't as much about sort of human nature, because I think we're in a period where we really think more about human nature and authenticity and people as individual people, right? Yeah. In the workplace. And that was more about like, how do you fit into the big picture? How do you navigate your problem within the context of the big picture, right? It was like the puddle versus the tsunami. So, I mean, because if it was the perfect prescription, we wouldn't still be talking about navigating change, 20 years later, right? Like we wouldn't. And so, I do think it's a concept, worth like revisiting. Like it's not, it's not linear. And I do think that one thing that people, particularly in our generation, really struggle with is sort of wanting to embrace change and wanting to anticipate change and looking forward, not back. Like they know these variables, but I don't know that there's any one thing or any way that people are meant given help or even given compassion in dealing with their feelings about change, right? Like, and that includes
for just the space
fusion. Yeah,
the lack of space too, right? Like it's like, hey, we have a new org announcement tomorrow. You're going to report to somebody new. Don't need a prescription. They need the space and time to process that. That is not afforded in this world too. I think that's part of it.
Right. And I totally agree with that. And I think we don't necessarily, maybe as leaders or as society or as entities, I think sometimes this is where we forget the individual, right? People are like, change, it's for the collective good. You have to, be on board. And we start thinking about things that are oftentimes ageist, maybe even othering in other ways. Certain groups are not going to like this and certain groups are,
the old regime isn't going to like this. And yeah,
it's very, change can be very othering. It can be very much a power dynamic, right? And so, that word prescriptive you use is just so genius because I think maybe that's the word I was missing. This is a space that really, like, I think we have to allow ourselves and we have to allow others to sort of sit with, sometimes, right? Because it's not always that we don't necessarily want a change, but I think what people are dealing with in their life, particularly now, is not a change. It's the fact that change is constant and we are creatures that are programmed to control chaos. All we want to do is create control in our lives. And now we're functioning in these societies and in these workplaces where we're told that we have to perform at our best. We have to be peak performers all the time. We have to be productive as hell. We have to be amazing. But we also have to be experts in everything that is, but we have to be open to all that might be. We have to be constantly negotiating all of these things in our own minds and also in public spaces. Like, I think this is partially an acknowledgement just to say that, like, this is very difficult. And I'm not sure that organizations do it well. I think there's a lot of conversation of culture and tools and Who Moved My Cheese and other kinds of books. But in reality, I think that there's actually just somewhat maybe a lack of compassion and lack of mercy and a lack of sort of, even owning up to how people use change to their own benefit sometimes, in hierarchies.
What do you, as you think about it, whether it's, you don't have to give a specific example from the last couple of weeks, but what tangibly was it that really got you sort of musing on this whole, like specifically
this topic?
Yeah.
I think a lot of things. One, something in my life came to a head after a long time navigating it. So I think a lot our listeners know that, like, I have gone through a lot of change in the last couple of years in my personal life, in my professional life, in my family. It has been a tsunami of change, and also health wise. And so it's so funny how all these conversations are coming together. And I think, I took time off work. I sort of have radically shifted my career, all these things. And I feel like I've been really committed to, like, mental and physical wellness. But one thing I did not have control over was sort of my physical space. I still had some things to work out about where I was living and my situation with with that. And so circumstances in life change, right? They just do. And I think that's part of what had led me to this, was to accept a little bit that circumstances change. And so as my partner and I were navigating something about the house, he said something to me that was so beautiful and so insightful.
Okay.
And he said to me, Nicole, when we first went into this, we were doing the right thing. He said, the circumstances have changed beyond our control. Today, we are doing the right thing. It was so beautiful, Erin. So beautiful. He said it just like that.
From such a simple-minded individual, not a dumb, but a simple-minded individual.
An emotionally intelligent, just a person who is always been very much, I think, in tune with me and in tune with other people. The way that he said it, in the moment that he said it, it was like he knew what was going on in my head, right? So here's what was going on in my head, is that when we went into this, I had a vision of what life would be. And lots of shit has happened, and I have handled it gracefully. And I have navigated this shit, but there has been some things in my heart that have weighed on me, right? And what he said to me, I think he sensed all that. And what he said to me is, like, if you're doing the right thing, like, accept that change is not a rebuke of your past decisions, right? It does not invalidate who you are and what you've accomplished.
And the decisions you made at that time.
It does not invalidate that. And that, Erin, I think, is part of what more people need to hear and what more people need to say to themselves, is the mantra that change, whether it's a change in circumstances, whether it's in your control, out of your control, is in your favor, out of your favor, like, it does not mean that the past was bad or for nothing or meaningless or unimportant or not impactful or wrong. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but I think a lot of people are not hearing that.
Or who needs to say it. I immediately also think, bringing it back to work, what is the most common change? It's the organizational change.
Yeah.
That is like a crazy epidemic / maybe the totally right thing to do in companies, but there's constant organizational change, right? Whether it's passive or change in leadership, shifting teams, and
jobs, roles, expectations,
or even changing people in jobs or eliminate jobs. And I think that's really profound, that if leaders in their own words can say, hey, the decision we made 2 years ago to align, these 3 companies over here and these 3 companies, organizations over here was the right thing to do at that time. Because, right?
Because.
Spelling it out, right? Because it's different.
Right.
Like a relationship, like you've experienced it. It's a one-on-one kind of,
Right.
not because we were new to the market, because we were going through this at a great, because we wanted to accomplish this. But now this is a right decision because so many people get caught in the, they're doing it just to shuffle. And look, I can play both sides of that. I can play the snarky, like, this is bullshit, stop the stuff. But I also have been the orchestrator of those changes. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, me, I would never orchestrate a change just to orchestrate a change. Like, that's just not my DNA.
No.
100% not my DNA. There are reasons, whether it's the changing environment, it's quite frankly, the people we have on the team, a new priority. I would never have made those changes just because it's fun and I like.
They're not arbitrary, right?
They aren't for most people.
Most people who are in, the working world, in America working world, it doesn't matter if you work for the government, you work for corporate America, or wherever in between, most of these decisions are not arbitrary. And most people working in these entities, they want to know why, right? They want to know why. And what you said too is it's important because it reminds people that their leaders are thoughtful, right? And sometimes in the middle of change, when people are so focused on what they're going on individually, they feel at risk, they feel scared, right? Some people feel excited, like everybody has some kind of visceral reaction to it, right? Like this is a way to somewhat, bring people together, calm the waters. But also it just reminds people that a decision was made at one point, and it was not done arbitrarily or because leaders are stupid or because they're throwing spaghetti at the wall. Nor are they doing that now. Like if change management is about anything, it's about creating buy-in, right? That is what change management is about, creating buy-in from people. And I think that sort of the lack of compassion around change is part of the reason why change management fails. Like they sometimes miss that other C. Like change and compassion kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. And call me biased, but I think it all goes back to authenticity. Because if I think about the communications, oral, written, etc., around changes, they're often filled with the buzzwords and the what sounds good.
Yeah.
And that leaves people with no substance, and it leaves them to come up with their own story.
Right.
But if you tell the story without the bullshit and the buzzwords, talk to them like a human and say, look, here's what we were facing 2 years ago. Here's the conversations here. Like you actually use human speak and talk about the rationale behind the change. And again, whether it's at a big organizational level or it's, hey, Nicole, we really need to shift your role, all the way down to the individual. To me, it all comes back to authenticity. If you can truly explain to people what's in your minds, what's in, the decision making versus laying it out in some, template organizational announcement that's written by corporate comms or HR that's watered down with a bunch of buzzwords. Like to me, that's the difference between people understanding it and not.
Hey there, it's Erin. I'm just popping in real quick to ask you a question. Is there any chance you know someone who is looking for a keynote speaker for their upcoming event? Look, I know that many event organizers, they struggle to find a speaker who provides both tangible value and business knowledge, but that also lights their audience on fire. And I truly believe there aren't many speakers like me out there who are both former corporate executives and professionally trained speakers. And there's definitely none that roll in with an orange suitcase they unpack with their audience. Trust me on that. I would love nothing more than to bring my message of using authenticity as your strategic career and business advantage to people spinning in your universe, especially if you'd be there. I promise my talks always create an immediate buzz, but not just right after, but for months and years after the event is over. You can learn more about my message, style, and reviews, and share my speaking info by going to beauthenticinc.com/keynote-speaking. That's B, just the letter B, authenticinc.com/keynote-speaking. Or of course, we have it right in the show notes to make it easy for you too.
Your corporate perspective, and I will also, think about me, the individual perspective, right? I'm the worker, I'm the individual. And we have some ownership as an individual in this as well. And that is why I, want people to remember that, that some of this change feels very personal, but sometimes it's just the circumstances, and how you embrace those circumstances really matters. To recognize that that change does not necessarily signify a mistake. Sometimes it just signifies an opportunity. It just signifies like that there's hope. There's something potentially there, good.
And that will always come last. I remember I used to say this to people all the time. Our natural tendency when things change are always first to go to the negative.
Of course.
It doesn't matter if you're glass half full or glass half.
Because it feels invalidating. It feels like a rebuke. It feels like a waste
thing
time.
to do is you laundry list in your head. And then over time you're like, well, actually the good part about this is we now have more exposure to this, or I get to work on this, or I actually like this leader. But it'll always go to the negative first. I think the key for the individual is recognizing it and getting through that cycle. It's just like I talk about the sucky songs and you do you-ish, right? They never stop coming. It's just how fast do you rewrite them? And you have to almost always have that exorcism and get them out. But the difference between like even you with the situation with the house change, and sort of the cap on that, like no matter what, you're human, that's going to be hard. But the cycle time in which you went through that, and part of that was all the work you've done personally. Part of that was some profound statements by him. It's so much faster than you would have if you hadn't done all this work and had those thoughts. And I think that's the thing to remember too, for any sucky song, whether it's around change or something else, like guys, this stuff doesn't stop coming.
Well, no.
It doesn't stop coming for me. It's just there are some things that come for me now that I'm lightning speed process,
Right.
but I have to process it, even if it takes me 2 minutes.
Right. But you have to process it. And why sit in why would anybody ever want to sit in misery or in failure or sadness? Who would want to sit in that prolonged state of grief? You have to move through grief. That's the whole point. Grief is there, and it's a tool, and it's important, and it's a process, but you have to move through it. Sitting in it is really, really dangerous. And I think sometimes when it comes to change, particularly in the working world, it is very easy to leave this lingering sense of grief over what was.
Mm-hmm.
And it really makes
Even
it
when
hard.
it's not good. Even when it's
every day.
We could probably point back to episodes. There were definitely episodes where I remember you grieving the change of one of your bosses.
Oh my God.
And I was like, wait, you're grieving this? You were miserable under this person.
Right. But change is scary, right? And it felt like I had no control. And let me say, I went through the ultimate change, which was to lose a job that was part of my identity. And in the moment, for 1 second, it felt pretty terrible. And it felt like a rebuke, and it felt like a mistake, and it felt like a failure. And then all of a sudden I realized like all my light and my life and my ability and my energy could be poured into something completely and totally different in any way that I wanted to shape that. And I wake up every day feeling that way. Not every day is a celebratory success. I have moments where sometimes I miss the people or the things I used to do, but I also look at the life I have now, and I think like I would not be this person. I would not, I think, be in a place where I could handle the tsunami of change that is going on around me every single day, that is not going to stop. Work, life, everything else in between. I could not handle that tsunami if I didn't know in my heart truly what Steve had already said to me, which is the circumstances have changed, but we're doing the right thing.
Just like you did at the last decision point. You did the right thing. I agree. I also want to reference, I pulled it up. Are you ready for it? Episode 7, which was, what was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah, at least.
I knew we did. And by the way, I had to search our document for cheese, which we reference a lot.
Cheese, because we drink wine, we're also sitting on the couch. I serve a mean meat and cheese board. You know this.
So
cheese is a constant theme. Oh, I have another cheese related reference too.
Episode 7. I can't believe it. It's just crazy that. So reaching for the cheese and the power of location.
Yes.
And I think this was the one where you found the cheese buried in your refrigerator.
Pretty sure. Pretty sure.
I'm just reading our notes on it. The new editor. Oh, this is when Dan from the Volcano took over.
Oh, Volcano Dan.
Yeah. And then this was a funny episode because you had lots of conversations about the old cheese in your refrigerator and stuff.
You let me go on and on about my hilarious stories in my life, which sometimes they get contained. But let me tell you, Erin, that is one thing that is a constant with me, has not changed, is that pretty much everything in my life is a hilarious shit show. It keeps on going.
And I feel like going back to the power story, that is a real life
cry wolf
metaphor or analogy, right? That I am my power's out, but I am going to fucking return it to normal as quick as freaking possible because I am not a victim. I can go to my phone. I can report the power outage and I can handle this change as fast as humanly possible, except for that every once in a while, you might handle the change a little too quickly. And you don't.
And I would. And a public utility of all things. It's amazing. I wonder if the folks at Eversource are sitting there being like, oh my God, I had this crazy, you won't believe this customer. I wonder if they're telling stories about you. That would be pretty.
The only one. It kind of reminds me of there are times I keep my Seinfeld stand-up library of shit I just don't understand, common shit in the world of and not having an undo button on the reporting of power outage is almost as bad as not having an undo button on elevators. How many times when you hit 13 and you meant to hit 7 and you're like, why?
What are you, Buddy the Elf?
Why can't I hit undo?
If you wish you had an undo button for life, I should have an undo button for life. You know what, Erin? You should tell somebody who cares and can do something about that. That's me. Oh, wait, I'm not listening. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'll take that one to management. The undo button on reporting power outages. Noted.
Yes, please change. Can you put that into regulation 9763B
sub
under set 2? Yeah.
You know what I'll do is next time you cry wolf, I'll send the lawyers to your house so they can work out the statute with you. It'll be great. I'll sit there with the wine and cheese on your couch and watch them give you some legalese. That would be amazing. I want to do a new segment of our podcast, something that's called stories from the cursed bowels of working America, a new segment where people just
we just go deep. We go straight to the shitter.
Straight to the shitter.
We've been pretty far in the shitter, but you want to go further?
No, I want to go further. I want to know
the crackling hellfire.
The crackling hellfire, exactly. The cursed bowels, but people's response when things go to shit, people's response, because it was all coming into the whole change thing. How do people, as I was thinking a lot about this whole change topic, I was like, well, how do people respond when things go to shit? How do people respond in emergencies? How do people respond in fake emergencies? Your power situation.
I don't think there's a place that we could comb the desert for the worst work corporate stories. I mean, oh, great. It's one thing to be go on LinkedIn or on a website. You can submit stories to us, by the way, on beauthenticinc.com/podcast of you're such
in the cursed bowels.
But I feel we need to get creative. I bet you there's a place where they're oh no, we're the keeper of all the cursed files. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a labor attorney that we could like get to give us some like maybe we could get a labor attorney to get. You know what? I know some old labor attorneys. Maybe we could have on the podcast, and they could give us stories anonymously of like the worst.
Maybe that's part of the 200th episode. Maybe you just had to get me live because I've not seen your face. Maybe you just had to get me like getting the juices pouring out so I can, ideate or whatever the hell that word is about.
Well,
like
I tried to get you live with the sports ball that you wanted to watch.
My mom was busy watching movies list. Okay. Like this is her life. This is her world. Like I'm just living in it. Okay, Erin.
So for all our listeners, we are still open. I know this is going to be shocking. That we are not yet planned what we're going to do for our 200th episode. I know, shocker. We're such planners.
Okay.
And so if you have any,
be amazing.
If you have any suggestions, hello@beauthenticinc.com or stalk us on the socials or wherever. We'd love your ideas. And actually, there's been some ideas on our private Facebook group, the Because Podcast private Facebook group. I did
because work doesn't have to suck. Let me remind you of the new title of.
I know, but the Facebook group didn't change. Well, the URL didn't change, dude. Like whatever.
Erin can't remember the change. It's the polyurethane on the floor. It's just eating brain cells.
There was even an episode the next day where I blamed the polyurethane, but guess what? I can't even remember what it was.
Wow, this is the most expensive high you've ever had and longest.
Oh, it's gonna have long term. I'm going to be blaming those shit. Like goodbye, blaming the blonde. Hello, blaming the poly.
No, I'm literally dumber for having grown up in the house that I did where my father was like refinishing floors for 20 years. I think I lost a significant capacity. I do sympathize with you. But if you want to hear my funny like cursed bowels of America story, it's not that anything that bad happened, but like the response to it was hilarious. So apparently the statewide systems on Tuesday went down. Like the IT services statewide, the state of Connecticut went down. So most systems were not working. Anything that you had to basically, plug into our intranet for was not working.
Oh,
so
I know that because
you probably know. You probably experienced something.
I literally tried to file my annual report,
and it
was clocking.
Right. Nothing.
Like, motherfuckers. Like you tell me I got to file this stupid thing and then it was clocking. That's so crazy.
So every system was down. Something at the central processing system somewhere, somebody sent out a message that said stop only after it had been happening for so long. So all the systems are down. Phone lines, put things online, like the entire state of Connecticut after a 3-day weekend, which let me tell you, after a 3-day weekend, the public crazy is a little bit like amped up. There's some pent up demand there.
Right. So, because everybody like me,
like ready to rock.
Like, I got to do my stuff. Yeah.
I do my stuff. It's that time of year. People need stuff right into tax season. So everything's all screwed up, whatever. So everyone's experiencing this the same way. I get probably 100 emails from people being like, telling me the obvious, which is, I'm having trouble accessing stuff. Like
I sent one of those emails as I was like, "Your sister, I'm trying to do
not from the public.
Oh, this is internal. The call is coming from inside the house. The call,
the fire alarm is the emergency signal system is coming. So these are calls, these are text messages, so fast and furious that I literally cannot respond to them. And I'm trying to tell people that everyone is experiencing this and like we're all experiencing this and everyone should just sort of hang on, do what they can. I understand.
Send them to your Twitter account. Like just go to because like.
So first of all, I am confused as to why everyone is telling me. So I'm ultimately like a little bit confused by this. And so I email is still working. So I just sent out an email that was basically like, hi, my name's Nicole, and I'm like the new head of like this of a new house at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and like I've cast a spell on our cursed IT system, and that when you will tithe to me and bow and prostrate yourselves to me, I will whisper with my willow special wand with my dragon tail feather in it. I will whisper the word Inventio, and magically things will come back to life. Signed your level 5, wizard, Nicole. So I basically just started like goofing on people and just being like, I'm sorry that I'm not a wizard. Like, I wish I was a wizard. I'm sorry that I'm not a wizard. Like, one, I didn't cause this. Two, I can't fix this. And some people saw the humor in it, and some people were really they were like, wait, what do you mean? Like, like, what is this? And I was like, okay, so first there might be a generational gap here. Like, you don't know what Hogwarts is. And the fact that I actually look and seem a lot like Hermione she's like my alter ego. So, there's also that hilarious concept. But I basically just started writing emails as if I was at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and that I was going to like magically fix things, using my witchcraft skills. I just, because there was nothing I could do. Like, it literally was not a problem I could solve. And also, like, when something is a big problem, like a system-wide problem, like a huge problem, like it is so much bigger than you, individual complaints are probably not helpful. Like the fact that like Bob can't log on his email, like we probably don't need to clog up the IT help desk system.
Well, remember the hashtag.
Let Lenny work.
Let Lenny work.
Let Lenny work. You said. Which is why I started responding to people with like witchcraft and wizardry statements, because I just thought to myself, like, you really need to focus your energy. Like, it's really important to focus your energy on the right avenue when you're having some kind of like collective, like, work emergency, or like something is going on around you that you can't control, or some massive thing is changing that you have, no say in. Like, you're basically screaming at the wind. So if you were screaming at the wind, I screamed back, but like, pretended to have a magic wand. Like, that's like,
and that's where maybe you call like the local pub. I know it's all over the state, but like in New Britain, and be like, dude, I got a deal for you. I'll send over 30 people for lunchtime ASAP if you did $2 Guinnesses. And then you'd be like, guys, can't work, head over to, New Britain.
I would be the ultimate hero and probably end up having a union grievance against me. But I did try to find the humor. I did try to find the humor in all of this. And I think as someone who works in customer service and often feels like I can help you with your individual issue, but can't necessarily help you with a system-wide issue, though. Like, I hear you, I understand the issue. I'm probably not the channel for that. Please keep screaming at me. Like, maybe I should just start writing back as if I'm like, like a professor at Hogwarts. And I'll be like, I'm going to do 3 Luminosa and a Repare spell, and like everything should be fine with those low-hanging wires. It's probably as good as anything.
That's how we handled the whole Eversource situation. Like, Manny, who's a stress ball and can't sleep, and I interrupted his sleep and created stress, and he was so pissed. And then we got into bed and we were spitting laughing. Like, you couldn't not spit laugh.
It's hilarious
at the ridiculousness that
like bad shit and stupidity is really funny. Like, it can be really funny. Like, sometimes not in the moment, but it can actually be really sort of life-saving. I mean,
yeah. And you have to find, I think that's a lesson here. You have to find the good. You have to find the humor. Doesn't mean
yes,
you don't first have the exorcism. You don't first find all the negative.
Absolutely right.
Faster you can get to Hogwarts, that faster you can get to spitting a thing, like the better off everybody will be.
Yeah, like ends are not a failure. They're often a new beginning. There's a lot of cycles here, and any reason to remind yourself to have self-love and self-compassion in the face of things that you don't control. That's a huge success.
Huge. I love it. Thank you for bringing up this topic. Thank you for
the exorcism.
Thank you for my exorcism and getting out my t-shirt names. And again, are not a non-sponsor, not unsponsor. Nature's Bounty, hair, skin, and nails gummies, advanced. If your hair is thinning, if you're a Gen X woman that's maybe blame it on menopause, our last episode, blame it on the winter,
your children,
I'm telling
politics,
you, social media, these things, the hair is
we're doing good. Yes. And I also just wanted to remind you of my new favorite word, which is probably been used a million times, and I'm going to own it here, is we're just going to keep demonstrating Gen excellence because that is what we're made of.
Love it. Gen excellence.
Go be Gen excellent, people.
Love it. Love you. Love you all.
Hey, it's Erin with a teeny request. If you have ever gotten any value from this podcast and you'd like us to stick around, plus you want it to continue to grow so we can kind of swindle bigger and more knowledgeable guests to join us and to keep providing you with tangible and inspiring actions you can take to achieve the career and life you deserve, could you please just take 1 minute to leave us a rating and a review? Those reviews go a long way in attracting guests to the show, and candidly, they really make Nicole and I's day. We see you. We really do. So when you have the time and inspiration, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Thank you.